Hi, this is Lisa Somerville for Divinity Designs. Today I'm here to share with you the fractured quilt background die. This die measures 5¼ by 4. You have the background die, and then you have the layering dies nestled within the die cut area. And here you can see this die set on some completed cards along with additional Divinity Designs products. Again, here's the base die for the fractured quilt background, and here are the layering dies. You can die cut the base die from cardstock or pattern paper. When using the layering panels, you'll want to die cut and emboss these dies. Embossing the dies will bring out the detail of the dies. That's the raised area that you see on the die cut and embossed layering panels. When using this die set, you can die cut the background and the layer panels separately. When I die cut this die for my cards, I die cut both the layers and the background for the die together at the same time, and then I emboss the die. By die cutting and embossing the background and the layering panels at the same time, it ensures that all of your pattern papers are going to line up. This is especially helpful if you're going to be using any of the strips as layering panels like you see on this card here. So now that I've added removable tape to the die, I can go ahead and die cut and emboss following the directions from my die cutting machine. Again, that's just something that worked well for me when using the fractured quilt background die. When die cutting the frame from the fractured quilt background, you're going to end up with the die cut pieces that you see here. If you wanted to create using the fractured quilt background and you wanted all of the strips to be black like you see on this card here, you can simply die cut through two pieces of cardstock at the same time. That will help adhere those pieces so that they remain in place of the die cut area. On this card here, you can see that the strips for the fractured quilt background are black, the same as the background area of the die cut. Here you can see those die cut strips are left in place. Another example using papers from that same paper pad. Here's yet another sample. Here's another sample using those same papers. And yet another example. This time I have 4 black strips and 4 strips using the pattern paper. Again, here's the fractured quilt background. And here you can see I've adhered the die cut and embossed layering panels. And here I have the die cut strips that I'm going to adhere back into the opening of the die cut background panel. Here you can see that fractured quilt background on an A2 portrait card. And here you can see the matting rectangle adds a pop of color between the fractured quilt background and the A2 portrait card base. I'm going to adhere those panels together, and then I'm going to use adhesive to adhere those strips back into place in the opening of the die cut panel. And here's a tip on how I created my background using the fractured quilt background die. And here you can see the fractured quilt background with the addition of the die cut and embossed layering panels. I've placed those die cut strips back into the opening of the die cut panel and used removable tape to hold those strips in place. That ensures that that border remains straight on the background die cut panel. Then I can flip that panel over and use adhesive on the back side and adhere to the base card. After this panel has been adhered to the base card, I can then remove the removable tape that was holding those strips in place. And now you can finish embellishing your card. To embellish my card, I'm going to be using a sentiment from one of our foiling die duos. And again, to add dimension to the die cuts without using dimensionals, I die cut additional panels that I'm going to adhere together and then stack those die cuts to form dimension with the die cut panels.